Hello, brother. Let's go to Utgard. Okay. Brother, are we there yet? No, brother. Brother, are we there yet? No, brother. Brother, are we there yet? No, brother. Brother, where are we going? We're going to Utgard. Are we there yet? No, brother. Are we there? I swear to God! On their way to Utgard, they met a peasant. Hello. And the peasant was dirt poor, because he's a peasant. The peasant offered Thor and Loki lodgings for the night. But since he was absolutely dirt poor, he said that he couldn't give them any food. So Thor and Loki agreed, because Thor had a plan to give everybody food. He yeeted his 2 goats into fire, he then got a knife and slaughtered them. After Thor slaughtered them, he cooked them and he turned them to meat. Da-na-na-na-na. Said Alfie, because he was really excited for some good meat. And Rosva said, yes! Rosva and Alfie were ready to dig into some meat. So the father got the meat, prepared it into food, and they all ate it. So, yeah, they just all ate it. After that, Thor and Loki, the family did this, and they all went to sleep, including Thor and Loki. But one person, Alfie, was still awake, because he was so hungry that he just wanted to get that good bone marrow. Alfie got the bones, and he broke them to eat the bone marrow. Alfie ate the bone marrow, and then he went to sleep. The very next day, Thor got his hammer, and he then blessed the bones to turn back to the goat. It pretty much means Thor has infinite food here. That Thor found out that the goat had a broken leg. What? So Thor, he was so mad that he was really mad. And basically he scared the father really badly. Oh no, please. I will be a reasonable father and say, take my children as slaves. And then, so you can leave me alone. Thor was like, alright. And then they went. On their way to Utgard, the four heard terrible screaming. And the ground was shaking terribly. Then the four met a sleeping giant. And the sleeping giant yawning was the terrible screaming. And he wasn't even screaming, he's just yawning. And his yawns also caused the giant earthquakes. The team was scared, even Thor, which is pretty intense. The giant then woke up. It was up. The team found themselves stunned, and the giant and the team, they talked for a while, and they both agreed that the giant, since he had a bag full of food, would share the food at dinner time. So the team ate their own breakfast, and the giant also ate his own breakfast. By the way, the giant's name is Grimnir. And then it was lunch, and then they kept walking and walking and walking, trying to get to Utgard. The giant then took a nap. But before he took a nap, he told them that they could But that day, to get the food, they had to open his backpack and then get the food. So the group was like, alright, doesn't sound hard. So the giant took a nap. Then became night and the team wanted to, eat dinner. So they tried to open his backpack, but Thor, who's the strongest out of all of them, couldn't open it for some reason. Thor then realized that he was meant to not be able to open it. Then got his hammer, and with his hammer, he struck Skirnir right in the head. Now Skirnir just awoke and said, "Did a leaf fall on my head?" And then he took a nap again. Thor did this 2 more times, and each time Skirnir said, "Did a leaf fall on my head?" After that, Skirnir called Thor and everybody else a bunch of babies, and then he opened the backpack and gave them all food. After that, Skirnir said he was going to take them to Utgard, because they want to go to Utgard. So, the gang, they followed Skirnir to Utgard, and then they went into a giant castle. I know. Okay, so there they met someone else. The king of Utgard, by the way, Skirnir left. The king of Utgard is Utgard Loki. And he's an absolute giant. So basically, he made fun of them the entire time. And he said that if they wanted to stay there for the night, they would have to do challenges. Except for Rosva, she never really participated. Ha ha ha, you all must do my challenges. Okay. So, first of all, Loki declared he was the fastest at eating. So, what Utgard Loki did, he put 2 trays of meat for Loki to eat in one and another giant to eat in the other. Both Loki and Loki finished nearly at the same time. Loki finished first by a little bit. But Loki ate all the meat. But Loki, he ate all the meat, the bones, and he literally ate the tray. So Loki wins. And then after that, Alfie, who actually, if you didn't know, is actually one of the fastest runners. So he declared that, hey, I'm the fastest runner. So for someone to race against Alfie, one of the fastest runner, Utgard Loki called upon Hugi. So they both ran at the race. Alfie almost won, but Hugi beat him. They did this a second time, and it was the same score. But the third time, Hugi won again, but Alfie was like super close. Apparently, Hugi is a super fast runner, because Utgard Loki was very surprised when Alfie was super close to Hugi. Utgard Loki then asked what Thor could do. Thor said he could drink anything in 1 or 3 chugs at least. So, Utgard Loki challenged him to that with a horn filled with water, and he said he would need even more than 3 chugs to drink it. So, Utgard Loki then brought the horn. Thor accepted the challenge, and he immediately went to the horn to drink it. In 3 chugs, each chug bigger than the last. Thor tried to drink the glass. Thor doesn't manage to even come close to finishing it, but Utgard Loki is very much impressed. So after that, Utgard Loki challenged Thor again to carry a cat. Utgard Loki brings the cat to Thor. Thor laughs at the small size and goes to carry it. But the cat does a weird thing. It keeps getting bigger. And now Thor can't even reach it. But he keeps trying to pull forward. And the cat reaches its highest, but he manages to lift at least one paw. Utgard Loki tells Thor to stop, and Thor has failed. Utgard Loki laughs at Thor, and after that he gives him one more final challenge. He said he could wrestle anybody he wanted. Now Thor is super strong, so he's like, yes. Utgard Loki tells Thor to fight an old grandma. The old grandma's name is Yoli, and they start wrestling. They go into a massive quarrel, and Thor, he's losing, but he keeps pushing through, and Ellie knocks Thor to the floor. So after Utgard Loki embarrassed everyone except for Roskva, because she didn't even participate, he actually allows them to sleep there for the night. The very next day, the gang, they leave. But on their way to leave back to Midgard, well, actually to Asgard, because the peasants' children are now Thor's servants, remember? So, when they're going, Utgard Loki tells them to stop. And he tells them that they can never come back because they are way too powerful. And Utgard Loki reveals himself to be Skrimnir, the giant that the gang met before. And he reveals the truth. Utgard Loki is a trickster, a massive trickster. When Thor hit him with a hammer when he was asleep, he actually had a force field of mountains. And Thor hit him so hard, he destroyed the mountains. Utgard Loki then tells him to look over the trees, and then Thor sees a bunch of destroyed mountains. Utgard Loki then reveals that the person who Loki competed against, who ate all the food super quick, was actually Wildfire, and he basically burned up everything. And the person who Alfie raced against, Hugi, he was the personification of thought, and you can never outrun your thought because he's always in front of you. And basically, Alfie is super fast for even being close, and Loki ate so fast to even come close to the person he competed against. The gang seems to be really angry at this trickery, and also very embarrassed because they were humiliated among the giants. The horn that Thor drank actually was connected to the sea. And Thor drank so much that he actually drank most of the sea. And then he tells him to look at the sea over the trees, and he sees that there was a small lake, and the lake is now gone. It's all just gone. Finally, the cat was actually the world serpent, Thor's arch nemesis. And the fact that he even lifted one paw, he grazed the sky of the earth. And Ellie was actually old age, which beats anyone and weakens you. Utgard tells Thor that he would continue using trickery to protect his home. Then he walks away.